Dear Ukrainians, today we have new sanctions against more than 50 people. These are mostly Russian individuals who work for the war, for the Russian war against Ukraine. On the Russian military industry as well as on propaganda. Of course, we will also extend our sanctions decisions to partner states so that they support our completely fair pressure on Russia for the war. Also, the Cabinet of Ministers of Ukraine has carried out preparatory work to synchronize the 19th package of EU sanctions in our jurisdiction, and the Europeans are already preparing the 20th package of sanctions. We have made proposals to partners. I held a coordination meeting. Summary of sanctions for this year. Together with the Security Service of Ukraine, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of our state, and the Foreign Intelligence Service, we have determined what key tasks should be completed by the end of the year regarding the Russian tanker fleet, Russian energy companies, and all those enterprises and entities that help the Russian military industry operate. It is important that partners take into account our arguments when preparing their pressure. Separately, I want to thank our soldiers for the long-range sanctions against Russia. This is more than 160 hits on the enemy's fuel infrastructure since the beginning of this year alone. And hundreds of other operations were against their war machine directly. Thank you to all our special services for this. Security Service of Ukraine, Army Intelligence. The most successful Ukrainians are when they act together and agree on goals. Our foreign intelligence has completed the task of finding specific clear addresses, the whereabouts of Ukrainian children who were abducted by Russia. We give lists to partners. List of children who need to be returned. A sensitive issue, a lot of quiet diplomatic work continues. And in order to thwart any attempts by Russia to say that they seem to know nothing about our children, we are working in such a way as to give addresses. The first such list of more than 300 surnames, names, addresses of abducted children will be on the table of all leaders who help us. There were many reports from the military today, in detail on the front. Of course, Pokrovsk is first of all. We continue to destroy the occupier, and this is the most important thing, to stop Russian strikes as much as possible and where possible. The Russians want to turn our entire country into what they are doing with Pokrovsk, what they are doing with Kupiansk, our other cities, our communities. It is necessary to stop them where they came and destroy them there. I thank each of our units, every soldier, sergeant and officer who defends our positions and defends our state. One more thing. I held several meetings today on foreign policy activity for next week. This applies to weapons for Ukraine, finances and our joint political results in Ukraine's relations with the European Union. We are working to have good news for Ukraine. And it will be, I'm sure. Thank you to everyone who helps us. Thank you to everyone who fights for our state, for the sake of Ukraine, as for themselves. Glory to Ukraine.